Open YouTube and there's a million finance influencers shoving their payday routines into your face. All of them have a slightly distinct flavor of the same meal. And look, a lot of that advice is actually great, but my problem with a lot of it is that for most people, a payday routine isn't actually the thing that's going to move the needle. Because let's be real here, rich people don't watch payday routine videos. And I know that because I literally invest money on behalf of thousands of wealthy Muslims. And the fact that you're here probably means that something isn't quite working. And creating a routine before you've even unpacked what the routine is there for is just like tidying your room when the ceiling is leaking. To be clear, we're not saying that a routine doesn't matter, but it's the last piece of the puzzle, not the first. So before we get to what a sensible routine looks like, we need to talk about what's actually going on with your money first. What are you actually saving for? But before we get into any of those numbers, there's a more fundamental question you need to answer first. Why are you even doing this? Because I want to be better with my money is not a goal. It's a feeling, and feelings don't tell you how much you need to save, how fast you need to get there, or how hard you need to push on your income. Goals do. So before anything else, write down what you're actually saving for and be specific. Not, I want to go on Hajj one day. When do you want to go on Hajj? How much will it cost? Not, I want to buy a house one day. Where? What deposit? When? Once you have a specific goal with a number and a timeline attached to it, everything else in this video becomes much more useful because now you can work backwards. If you need £20,000 in 4 years' time, that's £417 a month that you need to save up. Without that number, you're just saving vaguely and hoping for the best. With it, you have a target and actually achieve your goals and feel happier as a result of that. And once you know your target, the next question is simple. What's stopping you from hitting it? Which camp are you in? Personal finance is actually just one equation, really. Income minus expenditure equals savings. That's it. There's no secret, guys. There's no hack. If your saving number is 0 or negative, something on the left side of that equation needs to change. Either your income needs to go up or your expenses need to go down, or both of them. And the reason this matters is because the fix is completely different depending on which side the problem is on. If your income is the problem, no budget in the world is going to save you. If your spending is the problem, earning more just means more to lose and more to spend. So before anything else, which one is it for you? So let's start with income, because if your income isn't high enough for your life, that's not a willpower problem, that's a maths problem. And you can't discipline your way out of a maths problem. So here are 3 ways to increase your income. The first is get paid more for your current job. If you can secure a £3,000 pay rise and sustain it over 20 years, that's £60,000 in extra income. And if you can make a habit of earning more over time, that single thing will do more for your finances than any budget ever could. Now, most people think getting a pay rise is about negotiating harder, walking into your manager's office and making a case. And yes, that can be part of it. But the more sustainable strategy is actually simpler. Become someone the business genuinely cannot afford to lose. Think about what every business actually needs to survive. It needs to find customers, convert them, make something, deliver it, and keep them coming back. That's it. Every role in every company maps onto one of those things. If your role is not vital to one of them, if you could disappear tomorrow and that business would barely notice, then you don't have as much leverage. So you need to work on that leverage if that is going to help you getting your pay rise. But if you're the person who brings in clients or closes deals or keeps products running or stops customers from leaving, you have real leverage, and that leverage is worth more than any negotiation tactic. So the question to ask yourself is, am I genuinely indispensable to this business? And if the honest answer is no, that's where to start. And you'll surprise yourself. If you start becoming indispensable, you may actually end up with a pay rise more than you even expected. Number 2, moving to a higher ceiling. But sometimes your problem isn't your performance, it's the ceiling of the role or the industry that you're in. And if that's the case, working harder within it won't solve very much. The move is to frankly just go somewhere that pays more. A good example is moving from business analyst to data analyst. You already understand the business context. You just added the data layer on top. Learn SQL, get comfortable with Python, and suddenly you're in a completely different salary bracket. And if you need to skill up to get there, a qualification, a course, a part-time study, do it. Especially in your 20s and 30s, that kind of investment in yourself can shift your entire financial trajectory. This is actually what I did 10 years ago when I was still working as a lawyer and building IFG on the side. And I'll tell you, once you learn how to earn money outside of your job, you never see money the same way again, because your salary has a ceiling. It's tied to your hours, your employer, your industry. A side income doesn't have to be tied to anything. Now, I'm not saying go and start a company. Most people don't need to do that. But you already have skills that other people will pay for. Writing, design, coaching, selling, etc. And the question just is whether you have ever tried to monetize those skills that you already have. Even just £500 extra a month is £6,000 a year. Invest that consistently over time and it becomes something very significant. Your job covers your needs. A side income starts to build your freedom for you. Now, if you just sat there listening and thought, no, my income is actually perfectly fine, then the problem is possibly on the other side of the equation. The money is coming in, it's just not staying. Here's how to diagnose where things are going wrong. We use something called the 60-20-20 rule. You might have heard of the 50-30-20 rule. 50% on essentials, 30% on lifestyle, 20% on savings. It's the classic budgeting framework. The problem is it was designed for a different era. Housing costs have gone up so much that 50% on essentials is just not realistic for most people anymore, especially if you're living in a major city. Rent alone can swallow that up before you've paid a single bill. So we use 60-30-10. 60% of your take home goes to essentials. That's rents or mortgages, bills, grocery, transport. The things your life cannot function without. 30% goes to lifestyle, eating out, clothes, subscriptions, the occasional treat. And ideally the remaining 10% goes towards paying off debts, and then after that, savings and investing. And look, these are not rigid rules. You can move the percentages around based on your personal circumstances. If your essentials are genuinely lower, put more into savings. If you're aggressively paying off debt, adjust that accordingly. The point isn't the exact number, it's having a framework so you actually know where your money is supposed to go. So now go through your last 3 bank statements and split everything into those 3 buckets. Then hold them up against those percentages. And if your essentials are above 60%, that's a structural problem, not a budgeting problem. And honestly, the main lever there would be income, which we've already covered. If your essentials are fine, but your lifestyle is creeping too high, that's where the work starts. Sit down with your bank statements, ideally with your partner if you have one, and go through every single lifestyle expense. And then do a simple thing, rank it. Best thing at the top, worst thing at the bottom. And then start ruthlessly cutting from the bottom. This way, psychologically, you know that you're keeping the best things and that you're cutting the things that you least liked anyway. And once you've done that, you're now ready for the routine, which by the way will be super simple and only requires you to do 2 things. Step 1, automate it. Now that you've figured out how much you can realistically save each month, it's time to automate this so that this happens first. So set up a direct debit to transfer that same amount the day after your salary comes in. The idea is it's gone before you can do pretty much anything else with it. Now the account or the investment it goes to will change based on where you are in your journey. If you're trying to pay down debt for the next 6 months, just do that. Once you've done that, the next step is to build an emergency fund. So the direct debit now starts going towards a pot of savings, and with an Islamic bank, for example, where it can help with a boiler breaking. And you'll want to have 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses in there. So if your essential expenses are £2,000 a month, then 6 months will be an emergency fund of about 12,000. And the best place for an emergency fund is probably an easy access Islamic savings account. So now you just automatically send money to that account until you've fully funded it. Once you're done with that, you've got rid of the debt, you've built the savings. Now you want to put it into an investment account, into an ISA or an IRA if you're in the US, so that your money can actually start growing. The second step in your payday routine is every 6 months you're going to sit down and you're going to check in on your numbers. See how you're actually doing. If you're slipping on any of them, if you want to change anything, this is the time to do it. This is much more sustainable in my view than trying to do this every month. The reality is it never happens every month. Things don't really change that much either every month. There's too much variation every month. It's like weighing yourself every day after doing exercise. It doesn't work that way. You need to give time for the changes to actually show up. So do the review, make any adjustments, and then go and spend your time on things that actually bring you joy. Not boring finance stuff like this. I mean, if you're sad like me, you would enjoy that, but most people don't, so don't do that. Look folks, routines can be great, but they're not the first thing you should do. Everything we've covered in this video is the boring, necessary work that needs to happen first to put your finances on solid ground so that when you put in a payday routine, it actually works for you. Because once that game plan is solid, doing the exciting stuff as part of your payday routine where you're investing and growing your money and using it for things that actually matter to you, such as going on Hajj or buying a home for your family or just going on holiday without having to check your bank account every 5 minutes, that's what this is all about. And if you need help learning how to invest in a halal way, we've recorded a full masterclass on how to build a diversified investment portfolio, which you can watch right here. And you can also download our free investing checklist that has already helped thousands of Muslims like you get started via the link in the description below. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.